ABC Limited has 12 directors on its board and has the following clause in the articles of association. The questions arising at any board or any committee thereof shall be decided by majority of votes, except in the cases where the Companies Act expressly provides otherwise. In the meeting of the board of ABC Limited has 8 directors were present. After completion of this discussion on a matter, voting was done. 3 directors voted in favor on the motion. 2 directors voted against the motion, while the 3 directors abstained from voting. You are required to state with reference to the above provisions of the Act where the motion was carried out. Since out of 5 directors, 3 directors have voted in favor, we can say that the majority has been achieved and the motion will be considered to have been carried on. હવે આમાં શું થશે કે જે abstain from voting કર્યું તે પછી આમાં 8 directors માં કાઉન્ટ થશે, so total number will be 5 and 5 में से 3 ने फेवर में किया, 2 ने abstain वो unfavorable vote किया, so 3 favorable है, 3 favorable थे એટલે motion pass થઈ ગયો, પતી ગયો છે. Why another director of the company sends a letter to the company secretary for convening the board meeting at an early date. એવો કોઈ provision નથી. Thus, a board meeting may be convened at an early date if the articles of the company contain in this regard. In the absence of the articles, the board meeting shall be held on a scheduled date. Any director of a company may requisition a board meeting on such a the manager or the secretary of the company shall summon the board meeting, or any director may also summon the board meeting. However, there is no provision in the act which prescribes whether any director can request to prepare or postpone the said meeting. So, in the absence of any provision in the act, the provision in the article shall have to be complied with. The board meeting may be convened at an early date if the articles of the company contains a provision in this regard. अगर articles કીધું હોય તો કર ભાઈ, નહીં કરતો હોય તો પછી કરવાની કોઈ જરૂર નથી, એવું કોઈ નહીં થશે કેમ કે એવો કોઈ રૂલ નથી. Seafood Limited, a public limited company, was incorporated on 1st April. The company has conducted four board meetings during the financial year, that is 6th April, 20th August, 30th September, 30th March. હવે gap બહુ બધો થઈ જાય છે. Has the company contravened the provision of the Companies Act 2013? હા, કર્યો છે કેમ કે 6 એપ્રિલ લોંગ shall hold the first meeting. law શું કહે છે, first meeting 30 days માં હોવી જોઈએ. Hold minimum 4 directors in every calendar year and 2 consecutive board meeting ની વચ્ચે 120 દિવસનો ગેપ નહીં હોવો જોઈએ. હવે 6th એપ્રિલ અને 28 ઓગસ્ટની વચ્ચે 143 ડેઝનો ગેપ છે અને 30th સપ્ટેમ્બર થી 30th માર્ચ વચ્ચે 180 ડેઝનો. So the time gap between two consecutive days is clearly more than 120 days. Thus we can conclude that the company has contravened the provision of the act with regards to conduct of board meeting, as the time gap between two consecutive board meetings is more than 120 days. In case of section 8 company, section 8 company નો શું રૂલ છે કે 6 calendar months માં એક meeting થઈ જાય. So it will be sufficient compliance of section 173 subsection 1 if they hold at least one board meeting within every 6 calendar months. In the given case, Seafood Limited held one board meeting in the half year ending on 30th June 2022 and the two board meeting during the half year from 1st July till 30th. Here it is also already held one board meeting during the half year from 1st January till 30th January. Therefore, if Seafood Limited was incorporated as a section 8 company, then there is no contravention of section 173. Now, practical question 4. During the year 2022, B Limited held the board meeting on 25th Jan, 15th May and 1st September 2022. In the board meeting held on 1st September 2022, only 4 matters out of total 7 members could be discussed and voted upon, and so it was adjourned till 8th September 2022. In the adjourned meeting held on 8th September 2022, the remaining 3 matters were discussed and voted upon. Has the company contravened any of the provisions? No. Hence, it can be concluded that the as per in the given case, the condition that the gap between two consecutive board meetings should not be more than 120 days has been properly complied. For the B Limited held a board meeting on 1st September, which was adjourned to 8th September. However, the board meeting held on 1st September and the adjourned meeting held on 8th September will not be considered as two separate board meetings. This is because an adjourned meeting is a mere continuation of the original meeting. Therefore, they will be counted as one meeting only. Accordingly, it will be considered that B Limited has only held 3 board meetings during the year 2022. Hence, it can be concluded that B Limited has contravened the provisions of 173 by not holding minimum 4 meetings. કે એક કેલેન્ડર યરમાં 4 મીટિંગ તો કરવી જ પડે ને, એવું થોડી કે તમે 3 કરીને એજન્ટ થયું એટલે એજન્ટ મીટિંગ ને બીજી મીટિંગ ગણી લેવાની, એવું નહીં ચાલે. એજન્ટ મીટિંગ પેલી મીટિંગનું જ કન્ટિન્યુએશન ગણાશે. Now, practical question 5. Moonlight Limited held its board meeting through video conferencing due to technical problems. The video recording which was done could not be retrieved. The company seeks your advice for the preparation of recording minutes of the board meeting in the above situation and the provision of the Companies Act. As per the provisions held through at the end of the discussion, but the end of discussion was summary of the decision taken on such items along with matter names of the directors who discussed from the decision taken by majority, and such draft minutes shall be prevailed till the confirmation of minutes. In the given case, due to technical problems, the video recording which was done could not be retrieved. In this situation, the secretary, in consultation with the chairperson of the meeting, must prepare the draft minutes of the board meeting using the draft minutes prepared during the meeting. Such draft minutes of the meeting shall be circulated among all the directors within 15 days of the meeting, every director who attended the meeting, whether personally or through video conference or through audiovisual means, shall confirm or give his comments in writing about the accuracy of recording of the proceedings of that particular in that draft meeting. Such confirmations will be received within 7 days or some. Once the draft meeting have confirmed, it should be entered in the minutes book. Thus, Mumbai must follow the above procedure. Now, practical question 6. Mrs. OBC Limited at its forthcoming board meeting decided that it will not provide the directors with the facility of participation in the said meeting through electronic mode. Can the directors insist on attending the meeting through such mode? Decided as per the provisions. It further as per section 1, the director of the company may attend the board meeting in person, that is through physical presence or through video conferencing or through other prescribed audio AV means. It further states that if a director intends to participate through video conferencing or other audiovisual means, he shall give prior intimation to the effect to enable the company to make such suitable arrangements in this behalf. Any director who intends to participate in the meeting through electronic mode may intimate about such participation at the beginning of the calendar, and such regulation shall be valid for 1 year. 1 year. Applying the above provision, we can conclude that the Act gives a right to the directors to attend the meeting in person or through video conference. The said right cannot be taken away by the company by not providing the video conferencing facility. Further, the use of the word may in section 1 implies does not give an option to the company to either provide video conferencing or not to provide. It is mandatory for the company to provide the facility of video conferencing for the attending the board meeting. Thus, the director can insist on attending the board meeting through video conferencing only. Practical question 7. Wonderland Limited convened a meeting of the board of directors on 1st September 2022 to approve the financial statements of the company as on 31st March 2022. The board has strength of 5 directors and quorum as per articles of association is 3 directors. 2 directors participated in the meeting physically and 2 directors participated through video conferencing. Examine the validity. 1/3 of the total strength or 2 directors, whichever is how the articles may provide for a higher quorum. In the given case, the quorum as well shall be 2 directors, that is 1/3 subject to minimum of 2. But since the articles provide for a higher number of directors as quorum, that is 3, the same shall consider 3 directors. In the given case, a board meeting has been convened to approve, hence a valid board meeting should be considered to have been held and the resolution passed thereafter for approving finally is also valid. હવે એવું નથી કે વિડીયો કોન્ફરન્સિંગ થી નહીં થાય, બધા જેટલા બી રિઝોલ્યુશન છે તે બધા વિડીયો કોન્ફરન્સિંગ બી થઈ શકે. પહેલા એવો રૂલ હતો કે અમુક વસ્તુ થાય ને થાય, હવે બધું જ થઈ શકે છે. Now, practical question 8. You are CFO and in charge of compliance of a listed entity. The company is professionally managed and has entered a niche in the market for its robust management practices. Mr. Edward, an eminent American business currently living in Germany, joined the company as an executive director on assuming his mental he being a foreign director residing abroad approach to specifically understand the relevant provision of the Companies Act 2000 relating to participation of directors in board meetings conducted through video conferencing in respect to the following. What should be the venue? Venue notice like the scheduled venue that is set forth in the notice. How the statutory placed at the shall be deemed to have been signed by the directors participating through electronic mode. Consent લઈ લેવાનું and it is so recorded in the minutes of the meeting કે એ લોકોએ consent આપ્યું છે કે statutory register માં sign કર્યા છે તે વસ્તુ લઈ લેવાનું અને minutes માં નાખી દેવાની. Whether meetings can be convened through audio teleco that is without video facility? No, it cannot be done. It is not ruled. Audio video facility હોવી જોઈએ as per section 170. The director of the company can attend the board meeting in person, that is through physical presence or through video conference or through other prescribed audiovisual. Further, the audiovisual means shall be capable of recording. Therefore, it can be concluded that a board meeting can be held through other audiovisual means which are capable of recording and recognizing, but not through audio or teleconference. That is without video facility. એટલે એ નહીં ચાલે. Example with reference to the provision of the Companies Act 2013, whether notice of a board meeting is required to be sent to a director who has expressed his inability to attend a particular board meeting. Mr. Bipin Ram goes abroad for 4 months, that is from 419, and an alternate director has been appointed in his place. Advised to sending as required under section 173. Whether notice of is required to be sent to a director who બધાને જ મોકલવાની. It must be noted that the notice is to be sent to the all directors, including alternate director and district director, and also the director who has informed the company about their inability to attend the meeting. Thus, even though the director has expressed inability to attend a particular board meeting, the notice of a board meeting must be sent to such a director as per section 173. Subsequent notice of a board meeting will be served at least 7 days before the board meeting to every director at their registered office, sent by hand delivery or by post to every director. બધાને જવું જોઈએ. The notice should be served to both. Mr. James is a director residing abroad representing the foreign collaborator. The foreign collaborator holds 49% of shareholding in the company. One of the directors, a senior professional, objected to receiving the notice by email. Is it permissible to send notice by email? Can the board meeting be called at a shorter notice? Yes. As per section, notice of shall be served at least 7 days before the board meeting to all the directors. Thus, notice can be sent by email address irrespective of any provision in the articles of the company. It further states that a meeting can be called at a shorter notice, that is less than 7 days, to transact some urgent business. Subject to the following condition: at least one independent director, if any, shall attend such meeting. shall attend such a meeting. In case no independent director attends the board meeting, decision taken at such a meeting shall be circulated to all the directors and shall be final only on ratification thereof by at least one independent director. If any, thus it can be concluded that notice may be sent to the directors by email since it is permitted by the Act. Notice sent by email is valid irrespective of any provisions contained in the articles of the company. Further, it is possible to call a board meeting by giving a shorter notice if the conditions mentioned under Section 173, subsection 3 are satisfied. Practical question 11. 11 number question. Mr. P and Mr. Q, who are the directors of the company, informed the company their inability to attend the meeting because the notice of the meeting was not served on them. Discuss whether there is any default on the part of the company, the consequences thereof. Should be served at least 7 days before the board meeting to all the directors at the registered address, sent by hand delivery or by post or by electronic means. A penalty of rupees 25,000 will be levied on every officer of the company whose duty is to give notice under section 173 and who has failed to do so. Further, in case of default in sending notice to any director, the meeting shall be considered as void, and consequently all the resolutions passed at the meeting shall also be considered as void. In the given case, the company has defaulted in compliance of section 173 subsection 3 by not sending notice to the directors Mr. P and Mr. Q. Therefore, every officer of the company whose duty was to give notice of the board meeting shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 25. Also, meeting and the result passed there shall be considered as void. Notice तो notice meeting में जितना भी resolution pass चला बद्दा void करना है. Now, practical question 12. Examine the following with reference to the provisions of Companies Act. The chairman of Evergreen convened a board meeting and 2 weeks notice was served on all directors of the company. Two of the independent directors on the board objected on the grounds that no proper agenda for the meeting was circulated. As per your notice of okay, there is no provision of the Companies Act which makes it mandatory that contain the agenda. The notice may or may not include the agenda of the meeting. However, the articles may require the agenda may require that agenda needs to be mentioned in the notice for all the board meetings or for certain matters, and in that case the notice must include the agenda as required by the articles. Further, if any section in that requires that notice must contain the agenda, then for passing such board result the notice sent must mandatorily contain the agenda. Thus it is not mandatory to mention an agenda unless it is required by the articles. Applying the word in the given case, the notice has been given properly as it has been served at the 7 days before the meeting. Now, second, so just Sunshine Limited proposes to hold its board meeting at a shorter notice through video conferencing. करो करना अच्छा. As per section, the director of the company can attend the board in the prescribed. However, a meeting can be called on short notice to transact some urgent business, subject to the following: at least one individual can hold its board meeting by giving a shorter notice, and the same can be held by video conference. However, all the conditions mentioned above for a shorter notice must be complied with. At least one director, if any, shall attend such board meeting. If no in case no independent attends a board meeting, decision taken at such a meeting shall be circulated to all the directors and shall be final only on ratification by at least one independent director. अगर independent director નો provision नहीं लगता तो कोई टेंशन नहीं देखो अर्जेंट बिजनेस हो तो તમે કરી શકો પણ અગર independent director નો provision લાગે તો એક independent director હોવો જોઈએ પણ જો independent director નથી તો તમે ટ્રાન્ઝેક્ટ કરી શકો છો સર્ક્યુલેટ કરો બધા director ને અને રેટિફાઈ કરાવો એક independent director પાસે તો જ shorter notice વાળું વેલિડેટ થશે. ચાલો Question 13. Examine the validity of the following with reference to the provision of the article of the provided the meeting of the board of directors of the company shall be held at 11 a.m. on the last day of every quarter ending on 31st March, 30th June, 30th September, and 31st December. Relying on such a clause in the articles, the company did not send notices to the directors in respect of the board meeting held on 30th September. Some of the directors have questioned the validity of the board meeting on the ground that individual notices have not been sent to the directors. Would your answer be the same in the case the secretary of the company, instead of sending notice on a usual format to the individual directors, sent a copy of the article to each one of the directors? As per section, notice of shall be sent in writing to every director of the company. So the section makes it mandatory to send every. There is no provision of the which allows the notice may be sent if the date or time and venue to be held already provided in the article. Even though the scheduling of board meetings to be held is determined as per the articles, still notice of the board meeting has to be given. Further, even if the article specifically provides that notice of the board meeting won't be served for the meetings that are held or scheduled in the article, still notice of every board meeting has to be served because any clause in the articles can never override the statutory requirement. Thus, in the given case, even though articles have fixed the date and date to be held throughout the year, but since notice of the board of meeting was not given individually to all the directors, it will amount to contravention of section 173 subsection 3. In case the secretary of the company, instead of sending notice on a usual format to the individual directors, sent a copy of articles to each one of the directors, it will tantamount to contravention of section as sending a copy of the articles cannot be deemed as serving of individual notice of the board meeting to the directors. But the board meeting, no individual directors, all directors, ને notice જવી જોઈએ. Now, 14th question. XYZ Limited company calls a meeting at meeting of the board of directors without giving a notice to the directors as required under Companies Act. The meeting is attended by all the directors. None of the directors of the company objected to the absence of notice. The proceedings of the meetings are ratified later by the board of directors at regularly constituted meeting. Decide giving reasons for an answer whether the meeting and the proceedings are whether the board is competent to ratify notice to every day. Further, in case of default in sending notice to any, the meeting shall be considered as void, and consequently, although the past at the meeting shall also be considered to be void. But if all the directors have attended the board meeting or the absentee directors don't complain about the absence of noting, and the proceedings of such meeting has been ratified in subsequent board meeting where the absentee directors are present, and such board meeting and the result passed therein shall not be considered as invalid. Thus, in the given case, the board meeting and proceeding shall be valid as the meeting was attended by all the day and no objection was raised by any director, and also the same has been ratified by the subsequent board meeting. The board of directors, in consultation of absentee directors, if any, can ratify the proceedings of a board meeting where there was an absence of notice in the subsequent board meeting. Now, practical question 15. Case 1. The board of directors of ABC Limited met thrice in the year 2022, and the fourth meeting, though called, could not be held for want of quorum. Examine with reference to the relevant provisions whether any provisions have been contravened. Yeah, is the director bound to attend the board meeting, and when is frequent from the board meeting? As per section, the company has already held 3 board meetings. Now, the fourth meeting could not be concluded due to the want of for quorum. So, the meeting shall be still adjourned to the same day to the same place in the next week. If at the adjourned meeting a quorum is present, then it will be considered that the company has complied with the provisions. But if the cannot be held, this will determine the contravention of section 173 subsection 1, as the company will be considered to have held only 3 board meetings in a year. Second question, so the Urja Private Limited, a recently emerged company. Oh, BJP भी है तो okay. A director should endeavor to attend maximum number of meetings, but he is not duty bound to attend all the board meetings. However, if the frequent absence of the director from board meetings affects the performance of the company, it will be considered as negligence and breach of duty by the director. Further, as per section 167 subsection 1 clause B, the office of a director shall become vacant in case he absents himself from all the meetings of the board meetings held during a period of 12 months with or without seeking leave or absence. Thus, if the director attends at least one board meeting during a period of and his absence is not affecting the performance of the company, then the frequent absence from the board meeting may be excused. Now, second, Urja Private Limited, a recently emerged company for conducting a business of providing solar panels, held 3 board meetings till 31st October during the year 2022. Next board meeting was due to be held on 27 December, but for want of quorum, a group of shareholders complained that the company has violated the provisions of Section 173 of the Companies in not holding required number of board meetings and Section 137 for default in filing its financial statements. Company contended they fall under the purview of Section 173 subsection 5 of the Companies Act 2013, state as to the validity in the above situations. As per section 173 subsection 5, and a one-person company, small company, dormant company, and a private company which is a startup company shall be deemed to have complied with the section if at least one board meeting is conducted at least in each half of a calendar year. The time gap between 2 meetings is at least 90 days. Thus, if Urja Private Limited is recognized as a startup company and if it has held at least one board meeting in each half of the calendar year, ensuring a gap of at least 90 days between those meetings, then it will be considered that section 173 subsection 1 has been complied. But if Urja Private Limited is not a startup company and hence not called under section 173 subsection 5, then the answer would be same as explained in part 1 of case 1 above. એ લોકોનું પેલું contravene થઈ જશે. The board of director question section. The board of directors of Messrs Infotech Consultants Limited, registered in Kolkata, proposes to hold the next board meeting in the month of December 2014. They seek your advice in respect of the following: can the board meeting be held in Chennai when all the directors of the company reside at Kolkata? Gaurav, there is no provision of the Companies Act which requires that a board meeting should be held only at a place where the registered office of the company is situated, or at a place where all the directors reside. That the board meeting can be held in Chennai even if all the directors of the company reside at Kolkata. Second, whether the board meeting can be called on a national holiday, and that too after business hours, as majority of the directors of the company have gone to Chennai on vacation. There is no provision in the Companies Act that a board meeting cannot be held on a national holiday, or that the board meeting can be held only during the business hours. Thus, the board meeting can be held on a national holiday and even after the business hours. Third, is it necessary that the notice of the board meeting should specify the nature of business to be transacted? No. As per section 173 subsection, the notice of shall be okay. There is no provision which makes it mandatory that each and every notice of a board meeting must also contain the agenda However, the articles may require that agenda need to be mentioned in the notice for all the board meetings or for certain matters. And in that case, the notice must include the agenda as required by the articles. Further, if any section in the act requires that the notice must contain the agenda, then for passing such board resolution, the notice sent must mandatorily contain the agenda. Thus, it is not necessary that the notice must specify the nature of business to be transacted unless it is required by the articles or the act. 17. The board meeting of MNO Limited was held on 10th May 2000 at Chennai at 11 a.m. At the time of starting the board meeting, the number of directors present was 7. Okay, the total number of directors was 10. The board had to transact 10 items in the board meeting. At 12 noon, after the completion of 4 items in the agenda, 4 directors left the meeting. Examine the validity. One third of the total strength or today whichever the quorum needs to be present throughout the meeting. It is not enough to okay. One third of 10 directors, 4 directors present who are in the given situation. 7 directors were present at the commencement of the show. Quorum is present and hence the resolution passed. The 4 items are valid. However, after the completion of 4 items in the agenda, 4 directors left. So now only 3 directors remain and hence the quorum is not present. Thereby now no further resolution can be validly discussed and voted upon. The meeting cannot proceed further and pass resolution for the remaining 6 items in the agenda. And if any such resolution has been passed, then such resolution shall be considered as invalid. Now, practical question 18. What is the required quorum for holding a board meeting? Examine the following cases. In a board meeting, only 3 directors were present. Out of total 11 directors, none of the 3 directors were interested in any of the items of the agenda. Examine the validity of the meeting. In a board meeting, only 3 directors were present. Out of total 11 directors, none of the 3 directors were interested in any items of the agenda. Okay, one third or 2 directors, whichever is higher. In the present case, the total is 11 directors. Therefore, the quorum as per shall be 4 directors. Since only 3 directors are present at the meeting, it is clear that quorum was not present, and therefore the meeting has not been valid. In a meeting, in a meeting of the board, out of the total 11 directors, 7 directors were present, of which only 2 directors were not interested in one of the transactions. How would only 2 directors were not interested? Okay, four वालों थे जैसा ना. But as per section 1, where at any time the number of interested directors exceeds or becomes equal to two-thirds of the total standard, the quorum should be the number of disinterested directors who are present at the meeting, subject to minimum 2 directors. For the application, the number of directors interested must be two-thirds or more of the total strength. So in the given case, at least 8 directors, two-thirds of 11, should be interested directors to be eligible to use the relaxation given in this section. But as per the fact, only 5 directors are interested, and thus the company is ineligible to use the relaxation in the criteria of quorum. Hence, in this situation, also the quorum should be taken as 4 directors. Now, 7 directors are present, and of which interested directors are five. Interested directors are not counted in the quorum. So the directors shall be taken as only 2 directors, which is less than the required quorum of 4 directors. Hence, the meeting cannot be held for the want of quorum. This is an interesting point. Okay? Two-third of the total directors જે ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ છે તો તમે એવું કહી શકો કે નોન ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ ડિરેક્ટર સબ્જેક્ટ ટુ મિનિમમ ટુ એટલે બે નોન ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ ડિરેક્ટર તમારો quorum બનાવી શકશે બટ અહીંયા તો એ જ ફૂલફિલ નહીં થતું આ ડિરેક્ટર ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ નથી પણ ખાલી 5 ડિરેક્ટર ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ છે તો પછી ઉપરવાળું પ્રોવિઝન લાગી જશે સો એમાં એવું કહે છે કે હવે 11 નું 1/3 કરે તો 4 આવે તો 4 ડિરેક્ટર પ્રેઝન્ટ હોવા જોઈએ બટ અત્યારે તો 7માંથી 5 ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ વાળા છે તે તો નીકળી જાય ખાલી 2 બાકી રહે એટલે એ બેના લીધે quorum set નથી થતો એટલે it's not cannot be held meeting held નહીં થઈ શકતા section practical question 19. A meeting of the board of directors of OPQ company limited is due to be held on 39/2020 did not take place for want of quorum. As a result, the company did not hold any board meeting for the quarter ended 39/2022, and there is a complaint that the company has violated the provisions of the act in this regard. Advice: as per section, every company should hold a minimum of four board meetings in every calendar year, and the time gap between two consecutive board meetings shall not be more than 120 days. As per section 174, subsection 4, if the board meeting cannot be held for want of quorum, then unless articles of the company otherwise provide, the meeting shall automatically stand adjourned to the same day at the same time and at the same place in the next week. If that day is a national holiday till the next succeeding, which is not a national, if the adjourned meeting in the given case, a board meeting due to be held on 39/20 did not take place due to the want of quorum. So the seat meeting should be adjourned on 7/10 assuming it is not. If at the adjourn also quorum is not present, then it will be considered that the board meeting was not held by the company. But that doesn't mean that the company has violated any provision. Also, there is no provision section 176 which requires that the company to hold a board meeting in each quarter. If the company holds at least 4 board meetings in a year and ensuring that the gap between two consecutive board meetings is not more than 120 days, it will be considered as a proper compliance of law. Question 20. The articles of association of AOA of Ambrish Limited provides for a maximum of 15 directors, but the company has only 10 directors, and for two of them, representing foreign collaborators, alternate directors have been appointed. Board meeting held on 1st August 2018 was attended by 4 directors, including 2 alternate directors. Examined with reference to the relevant learned whether the quorum was present as on first August will the answer be different. The articles provide for a quorum of 6 directors. One third or today, whichever in the given case, the total number is 10. So one third would be 3.3 and it will be rounded off to 4. Further, even the alternate who attended the board meeting held on 4 was attended by 4 days and the required quorum is also 4. Thus, we can conclude that the required quorum was present in the board meeting. Agar 6 है तो बची नहीं, since the meeting held on 4 was attended by only 4 directors, the required quorum for a valid meeting is not present because એમાં 6 second question હતો તેમાં 6 directors નું quorum mention કરેલું હતું એઓએ માં હાયર લિમિટ સ્પેસિફાઈ કરી શકે.